Alyson Cambridge, you know, star, soprano, big opera star. Also, you know, you sung at the Met, you've been on Broadway, you're an actress, you've done a lot of modeling. What have you not done?
Well, I will just say that I am really just like lucky and fortunate to have had such a diverse career thus far, and I absolutely love it. My current, or I should say, one of my newest projects is I'm currently creating and co-creating and producing a new show, which we have set aim to go to Broadway, hopefully within the year. Um, and it's called Rock Me Amadeus, and it
Yeah.
fuses together opera and rock, classical, pop, multi-genre. And it's a way for people to get to experience opera and classical music and rock and pop music in a completely different way that's never really been done before, that will be sort of surprising. Definitely inspired from the show that I did on Broadway, but the musical director and I, we put our heads together and we said, I think we can make this into something super cool and different. So that's sort of been my baby throughout the pandemic. But I'm
Yeah.
so excited to get back on the stage, singing opera, and to be back with Toledo Opera. I can't wait. And to have an
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah, I know, that's amazing. Well, we should mention, we'll put it, you know, on the website and everything, but you're singing a gala performance to benefit Toledo Opera. It's happening Saturday, May 8th at the Toledo Club. Now, folks have got to get their tickets by Friday, April 30th, so that's coming up pretty soon. You can find more information at toledoopera.org. Alyson, I've been watching those videos from Rock Me Amadeus, and I have to admit, I never thought of putting Soundgarden with Gounod, but you know, there's some amazing videos you got out there that I hope everybody goes and checks it out because it's a lot of fun. For people who know the opera repertoire, it's a lot of fun. And for people coming to it from the other side, I imagine it's really interesting as well. I mean, that's
Yes,
part of what you do, right? Try to bring in new audiences.
absolutely. That really is, it's like it's been part of my mission, sort of just as coming from the classical music side, and sort of that's where I was born and bred. But I've always loved other music, other types of music, and and I realized there's such a stigma sometimes that is attached to opera, is it being elitist or just sort of not relatable. And so that is definitely part of my goal in this show of Rock Me Amadeus, is to expose people who've maybe never been exposed to opera or classical music before, because we're presenting it in this whole new, just cool way,
Yeah.
but also treating it very respectfully. The video that you just mentioned, the mashup of En Lève-toi Soleil, Gounod, and Soundgarden's Black Hole Sun, the Eurythmics, Here Comes the Rain Again. The tenor, Victor Ryan Robertson, I believe he's maybe sung at Toledo Opera as well. I mean, he just does such an amazing, beautiful job of singing that aria. And then all of a sudden comes in these two amazing rock singers singing
Yeah.
Chris Cornell and Soundgarden. And yeah, I thank you for the compliment. I'm so glad you've been enjoying the videos, and I really hope people will go and check it out at rockmeamadeuslive.com. And like I said, we hope to be performing live, certainly within the next 6 to 9 months, is our goal, and fingers crossed.
Yeah. I'm going to bring in your co-conspirator for this gala concert, Kevin Bylsma, who's a pianist. Let's see if we can get him to join us now. Drum roll. There's Kevin. Hello, Kevin. Check your sound. Make sure that we can hear you.
Da-da-da. Can you hear me?
There you are.
Yes.
Yes.
For a major research institution, you'd think we'd have better Zoom. But no, every day it locks up on me like this. So
But this
very
is
sorry.
this is the Zoom cliche, you know, that people's faces freeze and they get kicked out of rooms and what have
Yep.
you. So
Right.
you're fitting right in with the genre of Zoom.
Oh, I feel so much more comforted.
I've been talking with Alyson. We've been talking about, well, the Gala, but we've also been talking about her show, Rock Me Amadeus, which does a lot of these really interesting mashups and these great videos. I mean, opera videos. I remember talking with people like Francesca Zambello, who I know is a good friend of and colleague of yours, Alyson,
Yes.
about the idea of doing opera videos. And she had ideas about opera videos back in the early 90s,
Wow.
when I was working with her. And it's so great to see something happening in that genre that is new and unusual and creative. So I salute you for that.
Thank you. It's funny you should actually mention Francesca, because my partner, my co-creator, and I had a conference call with Francesca last week about this project, you know, to get her take on it, because as you said, she has always been so ahead of the curve in terms of how to present opera and how to make it and keep it fresh and relevant. And so it was really nice to sort of brainstorm with her about the future of Rock Me Amadeus and how to make it something, you know, really, really incredible.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about the gala. It's happening at the Toledo Club. Obviously, you know, the audiences have suffered over the past year, as well as musicians, obviously. But people haven't been able to gather so much to see an event like this and to be seen, right? To congregate with each other. That is a lot of what opera is about, as well as obviously the singing and the voice. So this is going to be, I think, a real popular event. But can you set the stage for us a little bit and tell us, you know, what you're going to be doing and give us a little hint maybe as to some of the songs, the arias we're going to hear? I mean, are we going to hear any Soundgarden, or is it going to be all standard repertoire?
No Soundgarden. I'll let Kevin speak about the program.
Yeah.
Sure, happy to. Well, because we know Alyson is such a genre-crossing, amazing artist, we thought we'd highlight that with this program, and especially since this is the first thing that Toledo Opera is doing live. Everything that we've done has been, via live streaming over the last year. So we thought we have to have something for everybody, because I believe really opera in the future, that's going to be one of the hallmarks, is that we find ourselves wanting to bring in a broader audience base. So we have something as familiar to traditional opera going audiences as the Song to the Moon from Rosalika and Dondolietta from La Boheme. You have to have Puccini, after all, for an opera gala. And because Alyson was the star of our production of Carmen 2 seasons ago, we're going to end that set with the Habanera from Carmen.
Yeah.
So,
I remember you singing that here at WGTE when we had you on during Carmen. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
That'll be
I'm
fun.
my debut performances ever of Carmen were with Toledo Opera and Opera Carolina, and I had absolutely the best time singing that role.
Yeah, I also saw the video you did, which was a Carmen mashup, right? It was Bizet and
And the
now I can't
Police.
remember. Say again?
The Police.
The Police, that's right. Yeah,
Wow.
Roxanne.
Yeah, which seems like a perfect combination.
Right? I mean, 2 femme fatales, sort of women of the night. I mean, you've got your 80s version, pop version, and then you've got the opera version. Yeah.
So
Kevin, you got to brush up on your Police.
Yes, and I think maybe we might have to change the program here a little bit.
You never know. People may be shouting out for encores, Let's hear some Stuart Townsend and get some other stuff in there.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like there are going to be, some of the big hits from the opera repertoire, which is a great program, especially for the venue, because the Toledo Club, is intimate. There's going to be cocktails. There's going to be dinner. It's a real gala. So it's an intimate kind of performance. Are they going to let you out and about, Alyson? Are you going to be talking to people, or are you just going to come on and sing and then be escorted off by your bodyguards? How does that work?
Well, I mean, I hope that I'm going to be able to mix and mingle a bit, of course, healthily and safely. But it's a pretty big program, actually. So I'm performing sort of at 2 different portions of the evening, and as Kevin said, the first half is more sort of your popular operatic fare, and then there's going to be a little break for some auctioning, and then the second half of the program is a lot of more of my musical theater and jazz repertoire.
Great.
And so, as you say, it's very conducive to, for these more sort of like intimate settings. And I'll get to croon a little bit, which will be nice. But I'm certainly hoping to get a little bit of face time with the amazing Toledo Opera audience and fan base, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, we should mention, of course, that you guys are following CDC guidelines. People are encouraged to wear a mask and be as fancy as they can be with the mask.
Yes.
Right. And you'll be socially distanced. I assume you're not going to be wearing a mask when you're singing, though.
Not when I'm singing, no.
Right. Yeah. Nobody's invented that perfect mask that you can sing in yet.
Certainly not.
Still waiting for that.
I saw a post on Facebook a couple of days ago, a friend who was about to start singing. It was their first sort of, proper engagement since the pandemic began. And they said, alert, does anybody know how to sing in this, quote, singing mask? And I was like, what is that? So I think somebody's tried, but nobody had any good advice.
Yeah. Alyson, we talked a little bit about your background when you were on my show back in 2019 when you did Carmen. I think it'd be fun to revisit that a little bit because, and here's why I ask, because you did mention at one point that when you were really young, your mom enjoyed opera and you did like your imitation of an opera singer kind of thing, and they thought that you were good. So hey, you ended up pursuing that. I'm put in mind of one of your videos where you talk about, I'm blanking on the guy's name now from Train.
Pat Monahan.
Yeah, Pat Monahan,
yes.
Of course. And his kids like doing their impression of an opera singer for you. It was kind of a full circle moment.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so funny because I think he was on the Today Show today performing Drops of Jupiter. But, that was one of his Train's hit song that they sang in our show on Broadway. But yeah, we were together for almost 4 weeks, and yeah, his wife and kids were often backstage, and in that show, I was the token opera lady, and I was a little scary in my sort of very fitted corset and extreme makeup and hair and everything. And but we got to know each other, and so it was like his last or second to last night, and he says, "Oh, Alyson, come here. The kids want to meet you." And he's like, "You're their favorite," and I was like, "What?" Thinking it's got to be like the rock people, and he's like, "Come on, sweetie, come on." It's like, oh, did his like opera voice. And yeah, and Pat said, he's like, "Alyson, yeah, the kids, they just love it, and they've just been so intrigued by how you sing and the sounds that you produce." And it just reinforces the point that it starts at a young age, and it's so much about exposure in the right kind of way to get people enthused about opera at any age.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's called using your powers for good, right?
Yeah.
Because it really is superhuman, what opera singers do. The fact that you're able to sing that way, and just with your instrument that you're born with and that you're trained to use, it's a wonderful experience. I know that folks who heard you on the stage will be interested to hear you in the more private venue. I think that will be a great experience as well. Kevin, while I got you here, you have anything you need to talk to Alyson about before she comes to Toledo?
Oh, nothing at all. I can't wait. Except I'm going to have to get my quote unquote jazz playing chops a little, work down here with some of this repertoire. So it'll be great fun. Can't wait.
I think you're up to the challenge.
Oh,
definitely. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to collaborating with Kevin again.
Yeah. So Alyson, before I let you go, just what's going on as far as pandemic goes? I mean, I've done a lot of interviews with musicians and singers who have been affected. Obviously, their schedule has been affected by COVID-19. But do you see any light at the end of the tunnel right now?
I do. I should say I should give a big shout out actually to my opera classical agency, UIA Talent Agency. Throughout the entire pandemic, they have been doing weekly Zoom catch-ups with the entire roster, keeping us informed of sort of what is going on in the industry. And you know, certainly in the beginning, very sadly, a lot of agencies were having to shut down because there is no agency if there is no work, because it's all, you know, on commissions. And I'm just so proud of them for keeping going and for keeping us informed. And now I would say on our call, actually our Zoom yesterday, the head of the agency said, look, each week we are getting more and more inquiries and companies are planning for this 2021-2022 season. So things are opening up. Companies are figuring out what their sort of protocol is, you know, to make sure that everybody's safe and healthy. Seeing who's being vaccinated, who's not yet, what they're going to do, making sure rehearsals are safe. And, you know, we're not back, you know, full steam just yet, but I do think there is hope and promise definitely on the horizon. You know, my fingers crossed that we're going to be back to close to normal by the end of 2021. That is my true hope.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, we're so excited to have you here and to have you performing live, you know, with an audience here in Toledo. Alyson Cambridge, opera star who last sang in Carmen at Toledo Opera, is appearing in a gala performance to benefit Toledo Opera that's happening Saturday, May 8th at the Toledo Club. You need to get your tickets by Friday, April 30th. You can find the information at toledoopera.org. Alyson, if folks want to, you know, jump into all things Alyson Cambridge in the digital arena, what's the best place to go for that?
You can go to my website, alysoncambridge.com. That's ALYSON. I'm at Alyson Cambridge on all social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, you name it.
Yeah.
And if you want to find out more about Rock Me Amadeus, you can go to rockmeamadeuslive.com, and it's the same again on all social media platforms at Rock Me Amadeus Live.
Excellent. Alyson Cambridge, thank you for talking with us, and we look forward to having you here in Toledo.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure to chat with you again.